reason why we are inviting you, because we know you are very concerned about what is happening in the country. And also your headquarters, from time to time, they will ask you to report on what is happening in South Sudan. So it's good for the government of South Sudan officially to brief you on the situation in South Sudan, because information that we send to you based on the decisions can be actually taken from your headquarters, and even for you here, because we have been seeing also some countries and the embassies, they are also issuing their own travel advisories. Some of them are advising the citizens not to come to South Sudan during this period of time, and others also, and we have like 2 embassies. I think they reported to us that temporarily they are closing until when the situation, based on their analysis, not on our analysis, when times come for them, then they will come back to South Sudan. These are sovereign decisions. We are not here to discuss them. Each and every country, they have the right to take the decision that they think is best for their diplomats in South Sudan or in any other country. But that is not the reason why we call you. We call you actually to brief you on exactly what is happening in South Sudan. As all of you know, when peace agreement was signed, the revitalized, we mean, because peace agreement was first signed, then again another activity was done to revitalize the peace agreement. That's its updated version of the peace agreement, but with the same parties to the peace agreement, with some additions to other parties who were not part of the peace agreement when it was first signed. When peace agreement was signed, a ceasefire was declared between the government and the warring parties. But not all parties to the peace agreement, they were actually having military formation. It was the IO, they have their forces, and then SAWA, some of the group of SAWA, not all of them, but some groups, because SAWA actually, they have like 8 parties. Then we have other political parties, they don't have any military formations. And the last group, the G10, they don't have any military formation. When peace agreement was signed and the ceasefire was declared, we know exactly where the IO forces were stationed and where other parties who have actually some forces within the SAWA group. So when peace agreement was signed, IO was not all over the country. In Baragazal region, it was only few forces from IO in western Baragazal state. And not in the whole state, but it was, I think, only in one county within western Baragazal state. And they were not actually stationed in one place, but they were roaming around as guerrilla, because there were no any town in western Baragazal state that was under the IO. So the whole of Baragazal region, there were no IO in Lake State, there were no IO in Warabi states, and there were no IO in northern Baragazal state. Here in Equatoria region, where you have eastern Equatoria, central Equatoria, and western Equatoria, we were not actually having any city under IO forces. But the IO forces, they were operating as guerrilla. Guerrilla always, they hit and they run. But we don't have any area in here in Equatoria region, being in central Equatoria or western Equatoria or eastern Equatoria, that we can call area under control of the IO. We don't have. But we have IO forces who were roaming around. Originally, they were part of our SSPDF and other organized forces, those who declared allegiance to Dr. Riek Machar. But they were not actually, there were no any city that was under IO in 3 states of Equatoria. But in Upper Nile region, we have Jonglei states, we have Upper Nile as a state, and then we have Unity state. In Unity state, we have 2 counties that were under IO until today. They are very active in those areas, that is in Panija and Mayendit. These areas, because of the nature of the state, these 2 counties, they were part of the Sud. This area, there is water everywhere in the area, so even during peace times also, they are not accessible to those who are there at the headquarters in Bantu. So some of our forces who were there in Mayendid and Panijar, they declared allegiance by then to Dr. Riek Machar. From that day, if we were like others, we were supposed to declare victory, because Pagal was the headquarters of the IO forces, and that was actually the headquarters of the SPLM IO in general. Our forces went and they took over Pagal until today. But because we know this is a political thing and there is no military solution to any political issue, that's why we did not declare victory. But if it was in other countries, we're supposed to declare victory, because if you took over the headquarters of your rebel group, you're supposed to declare victory. But because we believe that what is happening in South Sudan, there is no any military solution to any political problem. That is our belief. That's why we did not declare that militarily we managed to overrun all these IO places. So we are bringing this background for people to know exactly when peace agreement was signed and we started to implement the security arrangements, we know exactly the IO forces, where are they, we know, and they know actually our government forces, where are they also. So when peace was signed, we declared that there is free movement in the country. IO forces and the IO leaders, they are free. They have the right to move and to go to any part of South Sudan, because peace agreement is signed already. But when they started to move, they did not actually talk to their forces also to allow government officials to go to these areas. So one of the problems that was really challenging and was facing us was, if there is any government delegation going to any area that was previously known, that was under IO, they don't like government officials to go to those areas. One of the problems that happened, our former member of parliament, Simon, who was by then the chairperson of South Sudan Workers' Trade Union, and he was the one representing the Workers' Trade Union in the parliament by then. He is from Nasser. He went there with a team. They went to Nasser and they want actually to go and to disseminate the peace agreement. They went and killed him. From that day, if we really wanted to create problems, we supposed to create problems to all IO officials who are here in Juba and in all other parts of South Sudan. Because he's a member of a parliament who went actually to disseminate peace, because we have agreed that there is no war in the country, peace agreement is signed, and everyone is free to move. Very unfortunate, the team that we sent from here to go and to preach and to disseminate peace agreement and peace messages, they went and attacked him, and our member of parliament, Simon, by then got killed with some other officials who were part of his delegations. IO forces around Nasser by then. Nasser was under control of the government forces. By then there is no IO around Nasser, but there was IO in Olang area. From that time until today, there is IO forces in Olang area, but there were no IO forces around Nasser. They came to an area called eastern part of Nasser, and we protested to those who were with us here, the Arjamek and other committees and mechanisms who are actually helping in the implementation of the peace agreement. If we wanted actually to create problems by then, we're supposed to declare that IOs, they're supposed not to come around us. But we believe that peace agreement is signed, and it's a constitutional rights of all citizens of South Sudan to move in the country freely. That's why we accepted all these people to come to Nasser. When they were coming, they used to come actually not in big number, but from time to time, some of them, they will come that they want to sell, they want to buy things, and they want to do what now, but they started to come, and we started to have big number of IO forces around Nasser. But when peace agreement was signed, based on our records, and also the RJMEC and the CITISAM and other security mechanisms, those who were working to oversee the implementation of peace agreement in South Sudan, they really know that there were no IO forces in Nasser area. But they started to come in the area in big numbers. Also, when we started to implement the peace agreement, the IO, they requested that they want the commissioner of Nasser. That they said they want also the position of the commissioner of Nasser to be given to them. Although there were no IO forces in Nasser, but we accepted because we think it's peace agreement that is being implemented. At the end, all of them, they are government officials. If they are from us, the SPLM, or they are from SPLM, IO, or they are from other groups, it is normal for anyone to become a governor or a commissioner, because what we are aiming is that we want to implement peace agreement in the country. But if we were not willing to accept the implementation of peace agreement, from very beginning we're supposed not to accept that the commissioner, in area where there is no IO, for us to accept the commissioner will come from the IO. But in interest of peace in the country, we accepted that the commissioner is supposed to come from the IO. We have agreed with them that the pre-interim period by then was 8 months. What we wanted actually this 8 months, the pre-interim period, to be used in implementation of the security arrangement. All IO forces and other forces that were part of SAWA to be contained in containment centers and sites, and then from there we're supposed to take them to training centers, and from training centers, after the training, then now they become part of different security organs in the country. Security arrangements, the Sudanese government, they are the one actually who helped before the new government now in Sudan. During the Shir times by then, the former Minister of Defense and the former Chief of the Armed Forces in Sudan, they were the one actually who were helping in bringing all these parties together for us to have the security arrangement. What was agreed, because all of us, we were under the British, if in Sudan, South Sudan, Kenya and Uganda, all military formations, they were based on what the British government actually left here in Sudan by then, when we were still a united country, and the same for Uganda and Kenya, because all of us, all these countries in East Africa, we were under the British. So we know exactly, if you want to form a regular army, what's supposed to be done. So based on that, because we know, many of our leaders, they were part of the Sudanese army before, and all of us, we know if we really want to form the army, what is really needed for if we want to organize army. So we accepted the position of the Sudanese government because they are mediators. They were the ones who were mediating when it was about for us, all of us, to agree on security arrangement protocol by then. So when we started the implementation, IO, they were very, how I want to put it, they did not actually want us to implement the security arrangements as it was agreed. Because when it was agreed, you know exactly, we have the ambassador of Sudan here also, who is a former general in the Sudanese army, and many others here, they know exactly. We have the representative of the African Union here also, who was a former general. We have the ambassador of Uganda here also, who was a general. All of us, we know exactly, because all of us, we were under the British, we know how the things is done. They wanted actually to become part of the top brass of the army first, but that one was not part of the agreement. The agreement was actually, if you want to have a sergeant or a first lieutenant or a whatever, a major or a lieutenant colonel or a colonel or a brigadier general or a major general or a general, that one needs a number of forces. It is not just, you don't pick a number of people and you say that this person needs to be appointed as a major general, or you appoint this person as captain, or you appoint this person as a general. That was not the agreement. But the agreement was for them actually to declare all their forces. They will be content. Then now, based on our arrangement that we actually got from the British government by then, we know exactly how these things are done. But the IO, they were very adamant. They say no. They want to see themselves first at the top brass of the army before bringing in their forces. That was the main problem. Because of that, all IO forces, they were left out. IO, they kept their forces out of the arrangements, and they brought in people who are not actually military trained before, and people who are not armed. And they were brought to us, and we were struggling with people to train them first. And because of, again, we are under arms embargo, and they were brought actually unarmed. None of them came with a pistol even. All of them, none of them came with a pistol. Forces and the White Army. White Army is IO and IO is the White Army. Because there is no any distinction between these forces. They're supposed to bring in all their forces, that they said these are IO forces, the rest are not party, and they are not part of them. So that we will really know that these are White Army, a normal civilian who got armed by a way or another, and the IO forces, those who are committed, and those who are under Dictator Bashar, so that we can really know. But with this situation now, IO is the White Army and White Army is IO, because there is no any distinction between these two forces. There is no any distinction between them. That is a problem. And the IO, actually, they are the behind. They want that situation because they kept their forces out of the arrangement, and they brought few of them. And we kept struggling. We were not talking because of the government, we cannot complain, but we were trying to work very hard. These are challenges when we have accepted them. And our role as a government actually to work very hard for us to resolve these challenges with other partners and other signatories to the peace agreement. But if we were not willing from the very beginning for the peace agreement to be implemented, we're supposed to stop from there, and we're supposed to tell them that we want you to create a clear line between IO forces and the White Army, so that we really know the IO forces and the White Army. But now there is no any distinction between these forces. And this White Army, they are under command of the IO forces. And Nasser is one of the example that we can really use, because when they went there, they were attacking our force, and they were not attacking anyone from the IO. The commissioner was an IO, and all other people, they were there. And they are the one actually targeting our people, and they were not targeting. That one will tell you why these groups, they are actually together. This is one of the problems. But if IO actually, they were really wanted for the peace agreement to be implemented, as all of us, we wanted, the process supposed to end within the first 8 months before the interim period started, because we were having 8 months that were pre-interim period. All these forces, they're supposed to be brought together, trained, and then they join different armed forces. But for the IO as a political party, they suppose now to form their party, and they have to delink themselves from any military formation like any other political party in South Sudan. But up to now, there is no distinction between IO as a party and IO as an army. Up to now, this one is still together. And you can have, actually by now, we cannot still have a first vice president who is a commander-in-chief of another force. That there is no any situation like that in any country in the world. Victoria is supposed to disassociate himself from any army formation, and is supposed to declare himself as the chairperson of his political party, and they are free to move east and west in South Sudan to mobilize people who like their program as a political party. But up to now, there is still actually a combination between IO as a political party and IO also the military group. So this is one of the problems actually that we are facing in this country. We have been talking to them, but they were very adamant, they don't listen. That was one of the problems that led to the situation that we are in now. Again, these IO forces, because they were not part of the regular forces in the country, they were actually creating problems. One of the good things, we have NGOs who are here, those who were helping actually in provision of food and then food items to different parts of the Upper Nile. Along the Nile here, from time to time they used to find these IO forces and they will ask them to pay something. If you don't pay, for those who are using river transport, last time Red Cross, they reported to us that they are facing some challenges here because they tried from time to time to help the needy people in the Upper Nile. So you will have some of the group asking people actually to pay money, those who are using river transport, and the NGOs, they have these reports. Again, we have agreed that every year we have a governance forum. We share governors. They used to come to Juba to share reports about what is happening in the state. One of the things that were reported to us, that there is legal checkpoints between Juba and different parts of South Sudan. And one of the resolutions of governance forum is all these illegal checkpoints, they need to be removed to give access to the people, because there is a lot of commodities actually coming from neighboring countries and also from Juba to other parts of the country. One of the problem was in Western Equatoria, because the governor by then, he was actually from IO. And we have agreed, and the first vice president, Victoria Machar, is the chair of governance cluster. One of the resolutions that we have agreed is that all these illegal checkpoints, they need to be removed. The governor, because these forces, they were IO forces, and they were the one actually collecting money from the people between Western Baragazal and Western Equatoria. Actually, they said they are not going to leave the area, and they wanted to continue collecting money illegally from the people. That was actually one of the problem in the area. When our president requested from the first vice president for the governor to be relieved, and for the IO actually to propose a new name, they refused. And for the last 2 years, our president was talking to first vice president that there is problem in the area. The best option is for the governor, who is from the IO, and the deputy governor, who is from us, the SPLM, two of them to be removed. We said two of them. The IO, who is the governor, and the deputy governor from us, the SPLM, we said two of them, let them be removed. And for Victoria to propose a new name for the governor, and we will propose a new person to be a deputy governor, so that we can really create a good relation between the IO and the SPLM in the area for the benefit of the citizen. For the last 2 years, we have been talking to them, and they have refused. Even the governor, he refused to come to Juba. For the last 2 years, the governor don't come to Juba. He don't come. Even if the president asks him to come to Juba, he don't come to Juba. Then we say, okay, we will remove the deputy governor. We remove our deputy governor, and then we brought in a new deputy governor to work with him. Also, there were no any good working relations. Again, we proposed for that Victoria was supposed to remove the governor. He refused. Again, we removed our deputy governor, and we brought in a new deputy governor. Also, the situation was not improving. We decided again to remove the deputy governor, to bring in another deputy governor, and Victoria refused for the governor to be removed. A governor who is not listening to the president. Peace agreement is something. When you are appointed, you will be appointed as someone representing a party. But when you are part of the government, you are now, you get your directive from the president. You don't get your directive from your party. Okay? 2 years, the governor is not coming to Juba. When you ask him, come, and you don't come to Juba. Just even to attend. If a new governor is appointed and we invite him that as a governor, you come to attend that the deputy, your deputy is actually is being sworn in the office of the president, he will not come to you. A situation like that, then we decided, because Victoria is not ready for the governor to be removed, and people there, they are actually reporting that these people, they are creating a bad situation in the states, and then our president actually was left with no option just to remove the governor. And all of you saw when people were in the streets, they were very, very, very happy when the governor was removed. And we didn't actually want to remove the governor without consultation with the IO. But the IO, they were not ready for the governor to be removed. A governor who was not listening to the president, a governor who was not ready to receive directive from the president. And he's not ready to come to Juba. I don't think we can actually keep a governor like that. That was the problem why the governor of Western Equatoria was removed. A governor of Upper Nile also was removed because the governor is from IO and there is insecurity in the state and they were not helping because the IO think that the security is our responsibility and it is not the responsibility. It's a shared responsibility between all parties to the peace agreement. They were not ready to help. And there is insecurity in the states. From time to time, people were talking to them to help, and they were not helping. That's why also he got removed, and the new governor was brought actually for him to help to create actually stability in the state. What happened in Nasser, IO is behind what happened in Nasser. That's why a number of them, one minister and some few generals, they are under investigation. Because there were reports, people used to share these reports with the IO from time to time, and they were not responding. Ourselves, we did not want actually for this situation to happen. We wanted to keep it under the table. There were many things that we were sharing with them, and we didn't want everyone, even our normal citizens in South Sudan and foreigners, to know what is happening, because in any other country, in any country in the world, there is challenges. And there are things that we're supposed to keep for ourselves and we don't share it with others. But sometimes there is a situation when things can go out of hand. So when you see that we have one minister and some few generals, they are under investigation. And the investigation also led that these people also, they were working under directive of their commander also. So their commander also is under investigation. That is the first vice president. But in South Sudan, we are working for a rule of law to prevail. Any citizen in South Sudan, security organs, judiciary, anyone in South Sudan, no one is above the law in this country. And I think also the same in other countries in the world. No one above the law. If there is any issue and there is a report that you were actually giving orders or these things were done with your knowledge, there is investigation. So, and we will keep everyone informed that when charges are declared also is in the interest of people in South Sudan to know what happened. So we will be very, very, very transparent in the process. We will keep people informed, and our Ministry of Justice and the Judiciary when they decide that there is a strong evidence that Mr. X is behind what happened in Nasser, we will take them to court. Anyone in this country, we don't have anyone above the law in South Sudan. But all citizens of South Sudan, they have the right, when they are taken to court, for them to defend themselves. This is also one of the rights of a citizen. If you have any problem with the law also, you have the right also to defend yourself. So if the first vice president or any minister in South Sudan, later on the investigation, was saying that they have to be taken to the court, then they will have the right to defend themselves. They have the right to consult with anyone in the country, to form a group of their lawyers to go and defend them in the court. And this is not the first time this thing happens. Before, we were having a number of detainees in the country, and the court was the one who decided actually. It was not the president who was actually deciding. So only the judges of this country, they will have the freedom to take any necessary legal procedures that they think it's in the best interest of South Sudan as the country. So we don't want anyone to panic in this country. What happened is just in the small part of South Sudan that is in Nasser. So our investigation, if there is any citizen in this country or anyone from our government who actually, if there is any lead that there is evidence that you were part of what happened in Nasser, you will be put under investigation. Then later on, if there is a strong evidence that you were the one behind what happens, also the evidence will take you also to the court, and you will have the right to defend yourself. One of the things that were part of the implementation of peace agreement is disarmament. In this country, all our citizens, they need to be disarmed, because when you have people who are not part of the regular armed force, they are not part of the army, they are not part of this other security organ, being police or other security organ, also is difficult, because now we will have youth roaming around, creating insecurity in the country, in Nasser or in another part of South Sudan. So, as a government, we decided that all our citizens who actually in possession of arms, they need to be disarmed. This is also one of the things that we also need the help of the international community, because we were seeing it that after the election, these things are supposed to be done, but we found that now we have to do disarmament in the country, nationwide disarmament before the elections. Because if we still having people roaming around with guns, that one also will be one of the challenges that we face as a government when times comes for the elections. So our people, they need to be disarmed in this country, and that one will help South Sudan when times comes for the election to be conducted in South Sudan. Because we have agreed that by the end of this interim period, the 2 years that was extended, for us, all of us to go for the general election. We know there is people who don't want election. That's why from time to time they will create problems for extension. We know there is people who are creating all these situations because they need more extension. There is people who want to stay in power in South Sudan without election. And that one will not help the country, and this country will not develop. The best options for us as political parties in this country, for all of us to go for elections. Any party or any group of people, if they are elected, then all of us as South Sudanese, we have to rally behind them, because they have the mandate of the people in South Sudan. We give them the support for them actually to help in development in South Sudan. But having problems from time to time, that one will not help the country. So we are urging that all embassies in South Sudan and other regional and international organizations operating in South Sudan, we don't want you to panic. We want to assure you that as government, we are committed to the implementation of peace agreements, and we don't think also there is any military solution to any problem in South Sudan. we don't think and we don't believe that there is any military solution to anything in South Sudan. The only way to do things is for all of us to rally behind the peace agreement, for peace agreement to be implemented in letter and spirit, and we are ready today, tomorrow, and to work with anyone in this country and the region for the peace agreement to be implemented. For us also, for this peace agreement to be implemented, we want this security arrangement to be implemented. All IO forces, those who believe they are IO forces, they need to be put in cantonment centers, so that they don't blame us, we don't blame them, that our White Army is under them or White Army is not under them. If they are not White Army, then we want to see the IOs so that we differentiate between the IO and the White Army. So we want all IO forces, wherever they are, to be put in places that are totally distinguished, that we see that this is IO forces and we want them to join. We are not against any person from the IO forces to join these different security organs in the country, because we have agreed and we are committed to the agreement. All of them, if they want to join, let them join. And those who are out of this arrangement, they need to be disarmed. So we are committed to that, and we need the help of the region and the international community, because we don't want anyone in South Sudan roaming around creating problems, so that we can have time for the arrangement in South Sudan, because we really want election to be conducted in this country. But with people with arms roaming around east and west, that one will be really challenging. So we want you to help us in implementation of this security arrangement for all these IO forces and other forces, for them to join these different armed groups, and then the rest who are not part of this arrangement and those who refuse to be part of this arrangement, for them to be disarmed. And for the IO as a party, let them actually form their political party and let them join other political parties in South Sudan. Let them say anything that they want to say in South Sudan. There is freedom of movement in this country. There is freedom for people to assemble. It is the right of all South Sudanese for them to assemble. That means for them to form their political parties. But we don't allow any political party in South Sudan to operate while they still have military wings. That one is against the law, and the political party council will not allow any group of people who want to form their political party for them also to still have with them their military wing. We want you also to help us in that, so that many people will talk to these IO officials that they have to delink themselves from any military formation, and let them give the chance to our military headquarters for them to do the arrangements for all these IO forces and other forces to join the regular forces. So we wanted to brief you on what is happening, because we are seeing some people, they were panicking, and there were people actually going out of this country. There is no need for anyone to leave this country, and we want to assure you as a government that we are ready for the peace agreement to be implemented and no war in this country. As a government, we don't believe in any military solution. We only believe that this is a political thing, and the only thing to resolve it, we have also to look for political means to resolve our political issues. Military solution is not part of what is happening in South Sudan. We are seeing that there is different delegations coming to South Sudan from time to time. Today we'll be receiving, actually, we have now a special envoy sent from Eritrea, President Asias. He sent his presidential advisor, Yamani Gabra, who is already here now. That's why you are not seeing the Eritrean ambassador. He came with a message from Asias, the president of Eritrea. Now they're meeting with our president. And at around 2, we will be receiving a delegation from African Union, the panel of the wise, the new chairperson. He sent the former president of Burundi, and another lady judge from Kenya, and many other officials from the African Union, and around 2. They will be here in Juba, and they will have meeting with the president. Tomorrow, we will be receiving also senior officials from the region, and we are ready as a government to listen to them, and we are ready also to provide our side of the story to them. And there is IO officials who are ministers in the government also. Anyone who wants to meet with them, because IO also, they have their side of the story, you can also listen to them. Not all IO are under investigation, no. Many of them, they are freely operating here in Juba and in the States. If we go to Western Baragazal, the governor is from IO, because we don't have any problem with him. It was only the other 2 governors. But in Western Baragazal, the governor is from IO, is still officially active as a government official. We have a number of ministers, because we have 9 IO ministers here in Juba. There is only 1 minister who is under investigation. The other 8 ministers, they are here operating. One of them is now our Minister of Gender. She's leading a delegation of government in South Sudan in New York. So there is no any problem with IO as the institution in totality. But there is some people in the IO that they have issues with the law. That's why they are under investigation. But the other officials, they are freely, they can move, they do their work. If you go in different ministries here, you will find them working, doing their work in the government. So, but if there is anyone who have issues with law, will be the one that will be under investigation. But the rest, they have the right to operate normally as government officials, and we give them the respect that they deserve as ministers in the government. So we wanted actually to invite you to brief you what led to the investigation. A number of senior officials, including the first vice president. It is just because of what happened in Nasser, and we have evidence that those who are under investigation, they have linked with what happened in Nasser. Anyone from the IO we don't have any information about him, that he was part of what happened in Nasser. We don't have any problem with him, and we don't have a problem with the law in South Sudan. They are free to move, and they are free to operate as government officials. And we are ready to work with them, and we are ready to work with you and anyone who think that people of South Sudan, they deserve peace. So we want you to report to your headquarters that everything is normal in Juba. The life is going on, because people were panicking. One of my friends over there, he will call me asking from time to time. I used to brief him. Also, some people were, because there were reports here and there that our Minister of Interior, Madam Angelina, that she was also under house arrest. That one is not true. Madam Angelina, she's the Minister of Interior of the Republic of South Sudan. She is free, but just because she is the wife of the first vice president, that's why, because they're in the same house, that some people may have different reports. But we want to tell you that Madam Angelina, she's the Minister of Interior in South Sudan, and there is no any problems against her up to now. She's free, and she's working in her office. Because some people were saying that Madam Angelina also, with her husband, 2 of them, they are under house arrest. No, she only shared the house. But as a government official, she is the Minister of Interior, and she is actually working. We cannot go and meet her in her office because we were hearing some reports about that. So we only have 1 minister from the IO, but the rest, we don't have any problems with them. And 3 of them actually, last week, they held the conference somewhere here in Juba, and the Minister of Peace Building was the one talking to the press. Any one of you who want to meet with them, you can also meet with them to listen also to their side of the story. You have listened to us, you can also go and listen to them. So we want to assure you as the government that everything is fine in this country. What happened is just we are working so that it should not spread to the other part of South Sudan. We want this thing to be only confined to Nasser, not any part of South Sudan. Some forces of the IO also who were in different centers, some of them, because of this problem, they left the army headquarters. They issued a press statement asking them to come back, because anyone after the training, you don't consider them IO forces. They are part of the regular armed force in South Sudan. But those who were not trained, that they were still considered as part of the IO. But after the training, we don't consider them IO. We consider them part of the National Army of South Sudan. We don't want to keep you long because we are also working. But we said it's good also for you to listen to our side of the story, and for you to know, because we know you are very concerned. Your headquarters also, they are very concerned, and the rest are very concerned. But we want you to report to them that what happened is only in Nasser, and government of South Sudan is working very hard to keep it in Nasser and should not spread to other part of South Sudan. We are committed as a government for the implementation of peace agreement, and we are very committed to the implementation of security arrangement. And for all of us, we want you to work, and we want also to ask the international community and our good friends, our American ambassador who is here to help us with the rest, so that these sanctions that are imposed on South Sudan, especially the arms embargo, to be lifted. There are some people who think that we want to acquire arms to attack others. No, we don't have any enemy here in the region. Sudanese are our brothers, Ethiopians are our brothers, Kenyans are our brothers, Ugandans are our brothers, our people in DRC, in Central Africa. These are all our people and brothers, and we share many things with them. We don't have enemies here for us to attack. But we want to organize these people. They cannot be organized while South Sudan is still under arms embargo. There is one thing that we have a minister of water resources, the only minister who left Juba, and that was his own decision. So if he's ready to come back to Juba tomorrow, no one will ask him, but he's the only minister. He left Juba and he went back to his state. But there is no any charges against him. So he's free to come back to Juba. Even the deputy Director General of our national security, he left Juba willingly, and there were no charges against him. So if you want to come back to Juba tomorrow, he will be received, and there is no any charges against him until today. So these are the only two officials who left Juba. I think the third is the first deputy of the National Assembly, or yet. I think he went to Uganda, but that is his decision. But there is no charges against these three IO officials. We are ready to receive them if they want to come back Juba tomorrow. We are not against anyone, no. There is actually information provided by the security organs to our legal departments that Mr. X or Mr. What, there is 1, 2, 3, but it's not against anyone in the country. For these three IO officials who decided actually to go out of Juba, they can come back to Juba at any time. There is no any charges against the Minister of Water Resources, and there is no any charges against the first deputy of the Speaker of the Parliament. There is no any charges against them that we have in our record up to now. But that was their decision. They decided to go out of Juba. So we thank you very much for coming to us. We will keep you updated from time to time if need be, because it's our role actually to inform you officially about what is happening in South Sudan. We don't want also anyone to get information from his source. Our doors are open if you want to listen to us, not only this briefing, but we have different departments that are serving different regions in the world. You ask them and they will provide information officially to you. But the takeaway from here that we want you to inform the people that we are very committed to the implementation of the peace agreement, and peace agreement is the only hope for the people in South Sudan, and there is no military solution to what is happening in this country, and we want you to help us in the implementation of the security arrangement, and we want you also to help us for this arms embargo to be lifted on South Sudan, so that we bring in all these different forces, we give them what they need for them to join our security organ. I thank you all.